My name is Bianca Bruce. I am the licensed partner and manager of Engel Völkers, Sonoma County, and it is my pleasure today to interview Robert Tomasello, one of our advisors who has been with us for, how long has it been, Robert?
It's been about a year and 4 months now.
That's amazing. Yeah. So you've been in this ecosystem for a bit longer than I have.
Yep.
You've gotten the brand down. You understand who we are, what we do. But before you joined us, you were with somebody else. What caused you to come on over?
Yeah, so I got into real estate about 6 years ago. I've had my license for 6 years. When I first got my license, I joined eXp Realty, and I was part of a team, which honestly, for the start of getting into the business and the career and learning the ways, honestly, it was great. It was great for me. It had the team atmosphere, good support. They did supply some leads, stuff like that. First 2 to 3 years, it was great. Started to build my business, and then I really just got to the point where it was time to branch off and build my own personal brand.
Right.
Now, this process took honestly probably about a year and a half of just trying to find the right fit. Had different interviews with different brokerages, and nothing really felt right. So I was just hanging on to what I had before. But during that time, I knew that change needed to happen. I had outgrown the team, and it was time to just surround myself with, I don't know what the right way to say this is, but higher performing professionals. I had to get out of the small pond and into the big ocean.
Yeah.
So made the switch to Engel Völkers about a year and a half ago, a year and 4 months ago. It was a very genuine decision. Christopher Oscar, who's in the Sonoma office now, we were neighbors, and one day he just asked how business was going. I said, business is going great. And he said, awesome, come join me at EV. And I said, let's do it.
Let's do it.
And that was it. And I don't know if Chris knows this. Chris is awesome. He's done a lot of business in Sonoma. He's really proven himself. I always told myself in the back of my head, that if he asked me to come over and work with him, that I would do it. And
That's
it just
amazing.
genuinely happened, and the timelines lined up. And
what I love about this story, and you and Chris have this in common, you have lots of things in common.
Yeah.
You're both really hardworking, dedicated individuals to your craft, but also the brand, right?
Yeah.
You really represent us well. But one of the things that I really enjoy about watching you guys team up, and even just the atmosphere you create in our Sonoma shop, is one that I would say you have a mindset for success, and it's beyond positivity. It's a mindset of opportunity and servant leadership. And you saying that you had it in the back of your mind, thinking about, if he asks me, I'm going to go in. It's almost like you attracted
I
it.
manifested it, right? I think deep down, that's what I wanted. I manifested it. I knew one day I would have an office down on the square in Sonoma, whether it said Engel Völkers or Robert Tomasello.
Yeah.
I knew that would be there, and it happened. And now I do have my own little office in the back of the shop with Chris as well, which is great. But like you said, it's really the mindset thing.
It really is.
And having a positive mindset in this business and just being a service to others. That's really what it comes down to.
That's really cool. So I want to share with you and our listeners, one of my very first interactions with you. It was probably the first or second time we had a conversation, and it's the first time we had a meaningful conversation. When I first came on board with Engel Völkers, you were telling me with all the directness and the certainty that a person in your position could possibly have. You were the top leading 100 advisors in every quarter, and you were like, I'm going to make it happen again. And it was almost like the mandate was set because you had your vision in your mind on that.
Yeah.
So you are a very driven, goal-oriented, result-oriented person.
Yeah.
And yet in real estate, very much is not in your control.
Yep.
People talk about the market. People talk about buyers and sellers and whether or not they can afford to buy a home in Sonoma County. Particularly, that's a big conversation. How do you pay attention to all of that and are an expert at all of that, but also find a through line that is bigger and more optimistic and opportunity-minded than whatever the noise is out there?
Yeah, that's a good question. Really good question. I think to answer that, I think if you get caught up in the noise, you're almost playing victim to your surroundings, right? Wasn't in real estate yet, but by the time I hit the age 30, I realized I'm playing victim to some things. Life wasn't going how I wanted it. Wasn't necessarily winning in life like I feel like I am now. And I was just playing victim to a lot of things that had happened in my past. all sorts of different things. So again, I think with all the noise, with the market, the media, you're just playing victim. Oh, not as many buyers. Oh, I'm not going to get, you're just playing a victim mentality.
Yeah.
Keep the head down, keep the positive mindset going, keep the momentum, and everything will take care of itself.
Yeah.
I can't tell you how many people, family members, father-in-laws, whoever, oh, what about these new laws and regulations? I heard that's going to destroy buyer's agents. I've had more buyer's transactions this year than I've ever had.
Yeah.
Because you're not getting caught up in the noise.
That's right.
You're sticking to your process. You're completing the hard work that must be done, and you're just pushing forward.
Yeah.
And when it's all said and done, there's still sellers out there. There's still buyers out there. You might need to work a little harder to find them, but that's okay.
Yeah.
Right?
It's an interesting thing to go through. And if you have been in the industry for 6 years or so, I think you said, we haven't really had this complex and challenging of a market since you've been in the business.
Yeah.
And I think it's really easy to succumb to the mainstream conversation of what is possible and what is not possible.
Yeah.
And in the last 4 years, we've had a really dynamic market.
We have, yeah.
And so for it to change as drastically as it did means that the market has changed, but that doesn't mean there's no opportunities. Right. And so I think when you're speaking about that through line, you're really thinking about what are the opportunities, what you're saying, head down, what am I actually working on? Yeah. As somebody who's built his personal brand at EV, what are your thoughts on that? What was the most challenging thing, or maybe also one of the most rewarding things that you've experienced in the last year and a half since you've been doing this?
I think the most challenging thing when it comes to this is just keeping a positive mindset. It's the most challenging thing, because we were talking about this a little bit earlier off camera, but real estate, for most people, until you really have your business going, your phone's being called and whatnot, which I do feel I'm getting to that point. But for most people, you're going to go through a lot of ebbs and flows in this business, different markets, whatnot, and keeping a positive mindset is what's going to get you through. You can have 3 escrows 1 month, and you have that feeling, I got 3 escrows, I'm crushing it. But then someone might go through 3 months of no escrows. Yeah. And if you get in the negative mindset, and you spoke about this before, a lot of stuff can happen out of your control, right?
That's right.
I have a 24-hour rule. And I learned this from sports.
Okay.
I was big athlete growing up, a little bit of a head case, played baseball, football in high school, ended up playing college football. But if I had a bad game or struck out in baseball, I wouldn't want to go to school for the next week. I'd be so upset about it, so hard on myself. So you come up with the 24-hour rule. You can be upset about it for 24 hours. After that, it's dead and gone. Yeah. Because same thing like sports. If you're playing baseball and you strike out one at bat, and then you go out there in the field and you're all upset about how you struck out and you keep thinking about that, it's not going to go good for you the next at bat. That's right. Most likely. Same thing in real estate. Okay. I think the stat is 1 out of every 3 escrows, maybe 1 out of every 4 escrows falls out. Wow. Okay. Yeah. So you work hard, you get this deal into escrow, you're all excited, especially when you first get in the business, and boom, it falls out. You're crushed. And that's okay. You worked hard, but you have 24 hours to get the hell over it. Yeah. Because if you don't, then you're just sending out other bad energy. That's right? And focusing on bad instead of going out there and letting the good come in. That's
absolutely true. I think that's such a positive way of thinking about it. And it also creates a really high accountability marker for yourself, because it's not just get over it, don't have the feelings anymore. You're actually saying, let's process this, see what we learned. Yeah. What can we do better? Yeah. Is there anything to do better, or was this just an outside circumstance that we could not control? Exactly. And then let's move on and do better if we can.
Yeah. And also on that, more importantly, let's make sure the client's okay.
That's right.
You know what I mean? The first things first, if an escrow falls out and I talk to the client and I get off the phone, I was like, cool. Jimmy's still positive. He's right. It's all good.
It's all good.
If they're super upset, then that's going to affect me a little bit differently. Right. So the main focus is keep the relationship, keep the buyer positive, and you move on.
That's right. It's interesting because I think we talk about this at EV so much. It's really the attitude that we bring that sets the mood and sets the part of what you do as a professional is set the expectation. And if you don't set the expectation, then somebody else will. Yep. And it's usually going to be not necessarily what it ought to be. Yep. Like, how do you set the expectation with your buyers and sellers to understand we're going to do everything we can to achieve this outcome for you? And more importantly than making it as smooth as possible is that I'm there, you are there as their advisor for when it isn't smooth. For when it's just what was that? And that's the expectation you're creating, that they know no matter what we encounter, I got your back. And you get 24 hours.
Exactly. And they want to know, when it comes down to it, they just want to know they have an agent that has their best interest, that's confident in his skills, and that they have the client's back.
That's right.
And that's it. And if they feel that, everything else is going to go pretty smoothly. And like you said, it's like some transactions, one in a few, do go very smoothly and there's no problems, but a lot do have problems. So like you said from the very beginning, great to meet you guys. Here's how the process goes. I totally get it. I bought a few properties and sold properties myself. Just so you know, you are going to feel some anxiety. It's totally normal. When that happens, I'm here for you.
That's right.
I'm going to walk you through the fire. I'm going to be there every step of the way. We're going to get into escrow, and then you're even going to hear from me even more once you're in escrow. I'm like, okay, this guy's got my back.
And I love that you're saying that for a number of reasons, because I think a misconception is that your job is to find them a house. And that is not what you do as an advisor.
To be honest with you, a lot of buyers find their own homes. To be honest with you, I would say probably half of my transactions are me sending people homes, and that end up being a great fit. But the other half are like, Rob, we found this home. Make it happen.
Make it happen.
Guide us through. That's it. And
that's right.
And some people like to go.
Because here's the thing, and I really want to unpack this a little bit, because there is this idea that's also I don't know that it's floating around. It's more like a subcurrent that's happening, where there is a misconception of what the role of a realtor is. And I always. One of the things I love about EV is that, yes, you are a licensed real estate agent, which means you had to go to schooling, you are keeping up your education, it's regulated, but that is a title.
It's a title. And how many people do you know that have their real estate license?
Correct.
But are you an actual advisor?
That's
are you
right.
out there?
And that's what I think is the subcurrent is, do I even need a realtor? And one of my favorite things that consumers do now, and we all do it, we are all consumers as well. I'm currently in the market for a car, and I'm looking at all the websites, and I'm asking ChatGPT. And when it comes down to it, I have 3 or 4 people that I know that know their cars. And I'm like, hey,
you're going to get some input.
Right? And so that is what you do. You have that expertise. Tell me about that and what it is that you actually bring to the table that the consumer cannot get from the internet and from AI.
I think one of the biggest things I bring, which I honestly feel I've been gifted with just since I was born, honestly, and being an athlete, and just a gift, is I'm a natural born leader. Once I tapped into that, probably after my first year in the business, once I realized, hey, I don't want to just be a door opener for these people. I don't just want to open the door for them and let them walk in the home and make their own decisions. I want to lead them through this. I want to advise them. I want to be an advisor, right? Now, that being said, with some clients, all you can do is advise them, tell them what it is, tell them how you would do it, give them the best advice possible, but it's going to be your decision. This is my advice. This is what I know what to get done. But in the end, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, it's your decision.
That's right.
Because it is. And I'm not going to put anyone in any sort of high pressure situation. And also, that being said, is sometimes that way, if it doesn't work out, oh, Rob, you were right. I trust you. What you said was right. Thank you for advising me now. But at least you advised them the right way.
Well, it's empowering our clients to have agency in the decision. Right? So you're advising them. You are the real estate agent, but really you're functioning as an advisor so they can have their own agency over the decision. And every situation is very different. And one of the things I like about the way you even plan your business is that you're looking at goals, which is an outcome. Usually it's very specific, or ought to be. Like a seller listing their house, wants to sell. It's pretty self-explanatory. But the objectives that you have to meet to reach that goal are really diverse, complex, different from each case to case because of the personalities and the needs, wants, and desires of our clients. So when you think about the real estate transaction and the emotion that comes into it, what are some of the things you've observed in people as they are engaging this pretty monumental decision that they're making? And if they're not seasoned investors, they don't do this very often.
Yeah.
And even seasoned investors have really big emotions.
Yeah, they do. They do.
So what do you see in your consumers, in your clients that they lead with in this transaction, this experience?
Yeah, and it obviously varies. And I do all over the board. I do high price point homes, and then I also really enjoy working with like first time home buyers too. And what I can say is everyone gets nervous. Everyone needs someone to advise them through, whether it's a first time home buyer or someone buying a $5 million family compound. They have their nerves for the same reasons, and they want to make sure they're being taken care of because it's a lot of money for both those type of people.
Right.
And what I have found is my biggest thing was when I first got in the business, I was so scared to tell someone I got a lead. Let's not call it a client yet. Let's just call it a lead,
That's
right? Because it's not a client until they're signed with you, especially these days, right? So we call it a lead. Whatever. I had a lead. I had a client, and you name it, stuff would come up. They'd ask me for advice, and I would be so scared to tell them really what I thought. Hey, Rob, we want to offer this on a home. And instead of being like, no, Mr. or Mrs. Buyer, I don't think we should offer that because I called the listing agent and there's 10 other offers and I already know there's 5 over that offer price, and having them go through the process and explaining that to them, I would just say, okay. Sure, no problem. Because I was afraid, no, I don't think we should do that. And I know a lot of new agents deal with this as well. You're afraid to really do your job and advise because you're afraid it's going to rub this client or lead the wrong way, and they're going to go find someone else.
Yeah, and it's also when I'm reminded when I first started my business in Sonoma County, which is like 20 years ago now, 19 years ago, and the clients, I was so eager to have clients that I was saying yes to just about anybody. I was like, do you have a pulse? Can you blink? Okay. Like, can we just do this? And so there's part of that when you run a book of business. And then there's also this part of you don't want to disappoint the person that you're wanting to work with. Yeah, that's a really interesting nuance.
Right. So you don't want to upset them. But what I will say, and to my point, what I'm getting at is, so finally, I don't know, probably took me about 6 months when I got in the business, maybe up to a year. But finally, I just said with one buyer I had, bit the bullet, told them like it was, told them how I really felt, gave them my advice. And their response was nothing like I thought it would be. All that stuff I had made up in my head between the ears. Their response was, wow, Rob, thanks so much. We really appreciate that advice. Let's go for it.
That's right.
That built a little confidence.
That's right.
Did it again.
Yes.
Build more. Now it's like, I'm the leader.
Yeah.
I'm going to advise you. I know what the heck I'm talking about.
That's right.
Most likely you're going to take my advice because I have the confidence and you trust me. And if you don't, that's okay too, because it's your decision to make. But I know I gave you the best advice possible.
Well, and it also leaves a gap, right? If that happens, it leaves you an opportunity to be able to say, okay, so what are we working on here? What do we need to, what can I do differently with you? And what is it that we are missing in each other to give you the best advice that you need?
But you made a good point too I want to touch, because it's like any business you're in, sales, whatnot, you get in the business and it's, I don't want to lose these clients. Or you get clients you do have and you don't want to lose them. That's a tough spot to be in because you just got in the business. You got to do everything you can to keep these clients. When you're operating like that, you're really operating in not an abundance mindset, a scarcity mindset. But it's tough because you just got in the business. So it's, I don't know, altering those things. And I think new agents just being aware of, okay, like I don't have to work with everyone. And not everyone has to work with me.
That's right. And I think when you're newer, if you're newer in the business, or we have advisors who are coming on board with us who are saying, I've been in this business for a while. I feel I'm experienced, but something that I'm doing is not working for me. I need more support. I need better marketing, better representation, better personal brand development. Well, one of the things that I think is so helpful, and it's so helpful to me in working with our advisors, is to look at, okay, so let's look at what all it is that and believe about your business. Where is that at? And as an outsider to your business, I can offer advice, right? That's my role I'm your advisor. And so looking at it and saying, okay, here's what we can try, and where you can really look at your business on a quarterly basis rather than having to feel like you have to beat some sort of number. And I think that's really important to know because it puts you in a different position with your clients as well.
Yep.
where you really genuinely work with the people, where you have a value proposition that's aligned,
Yeah.
where you understand what the objectives are and what the goals are, and you work together on that. And it's
for
super
sure. And I agree. And especially like for new agents that are trying to learn the process and not get overwhelmed with everything or be like, hey, shoot, I got to accomplish this by the end of the year. Split it up into quarterly, right?
Yeah.
And even more, you can split it up depending on what type of prospecting you're doing or whatnot. But even more so, set weekly goals.
That's 100%. Like it trickles all the way down. And there's something you said to me. I think I was having a moment or a day, and you said, I appreciate what you had said about the 24-hour rule, but you were like, I try to think about it this way. I get to have bad moments, not bad days.
Yeah.
And I was like, ooh, that's good.
Yeah, we talked about that.
Yeah,
that
it
was,
really struck. I mean, I like that. That's going to be forever in my mind.
Yeah, for
Just
sure.
the
Me
way you
too.
said that,
Me
I was
too.
like, that is really interesting.
So for those of you that know, Deion Sanders, amazing football player. He's a college football coach now. That was his quote.
Okay.
He'll never have a bad day. He won't let himself have a bad day. He'll have some bad moments, maybe a bad hour, maybe a bad meeting.
Yes.
It's up to us if it's going to be a bad day or
That's
not.
right. How are you carrying it forward? So there's a couple of things you said. I'm taking notes here. I just love this conversation. So I was having a chat in this room in the studio with somebody, and we were talking about leadership. And I made a statement that I want to make to you because you said something completely opposite. And I'm curious to unpack that. I said that I don't know that there's such a thing as a natural born leader. But you just said, no, I know that I'm a natural born leader. What does that mean to you?
Yeah, I just feel like I've been born with that quality through playing sports, team captain. I think people gravitate to me as a leader. Now it's like leading in a sense where you're not afraid what's going to come back in return.
That's right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I get that.
So yeah, I think, and back to your point, I think people can develop into leaders too. Totally.
Yeah.
Like totally people can develop into leaders. But I do think people are put on this earth and naturally just born leaders. Whether they use it for good or not, I truly think that.
I think a lot of times leadership is misunderstood as the biggest, loudest person in the room. And I think that there are different types of and styles of leadership.
Yeah.
But I like what you said when you're talking about presence, really, and practicing your skill and your craft as a leader. So yeah, I totally see that in you and what you do in the shop. It is fascinating to me when I'm in a space and certain people come in, and all of our advisors are real. We don't have a competitive environment.
No, not at all.
It's very competitive with yourself. You compete against yourself. So all of our advisors they add a ton of personality and value when they come through. But to your point of natural born leadership, there are people that are coming into the environment and the energy shifts and different conversations start to happen. I love observing that in people. And I think your clients interact with you differently as a result.
Yeah, I think
you
so
step
too.
in that role.
Yeah, and like you said, the leader doesn't have to be the person that's barking the loudest, right?
Yeah.
But it's like they lead through example.
That's right.
And I think those are the best type.
Yeah, no, that's definitely true. Okay, we were talking about bad moments. And I remember when I was raising my girls who are now adults, young adults, I would always try to convey to them that there's no such thing as a bad feeling or necessarily bad things. It's what we do with the moment, do with the feeling.
Yeah.
And when I interview advisors or when I interview people that have family, we gravitate toward a conversation of work-life balance. And I know you have a very young family. You guys recently moved into a new home. Your girls are tiny and adorable,
Thank
just
you.
the sweetest little things. It's so fun to see them because it makes me remember my little girls when they were that little.
It happens fast.
So fast.
Yeah.
But you're navigating the same sort of work-life balance with the moments, the challenging moments you have that are real, right?
Yeah.
They're real at home.
Yeah.
They're real in your personal life. They're real in your professional life.
Yeah.
And it always seems like things just often collide, competing interests. How do you balance that?
Not much balance.
I like that.
None. Not much balance.
No balance.
I feel it's definitely hard for sure. It's definitely hard at times. Yeah, I have a 3.5-year-old daughter, a 1.5-year-old daughter. I average about 4 hours of sleep a night, right? And it's hard at times, but also I'm so freaking blessed and grateful. And during those hard times, it's you asked for this. You have everything you asked for. Now just keep going. And so back to your point, no balance. I feel very fortunate that I'm able to have an office in Sonoma. I can go home and eat lunch with my daughters. I can come to the office and go pick up my daughters from school. I just feel super grateful and fortunate. To be honest with
you were doing something that, when I was a mom with a young family, I wasn't sure what work-life balance meant. And I felt like it was a very special mandate just for the moms. Like we were in charge of that somehow. Whoever decided that was our job. And I was like, I don't even know. I wouldn't even know where to begin with that. I started thinking about harmony. What does it look like to have harmony? And that's a feeling. And sometimes when you think of an orchestra, it's really loud and chaotic. And then other times it's just like
it's just a nice harmony.
So all of it belongs to harmony. So, when your 3-year-old is just having a little meltdown because things are not working exactly the way she wants them to work in her world, it's just part of the harmony. Yes,
for sure.
It's part of that.
I like that.
Yes. It helped me take the pressure off that I must be the only one that's struggling with balance. Because you're not.
It's normal.
It's normal,
and luckily, my wife's great. She's a stay-at-home mom. She takes care of all that stuff. But we're in the business of real estate, too, and that phone can ring at whatever time
really
and whatnot. So
it does. I think it's really important in business, particularly when you are in a business that asks more of you, the individual, than a job that has a beginning, middle, and end. When you do what you do, a transaction may have a beginning, middle, and end, but it never has the beginning you think. It doesn't start at the offer. It starts way over there. So we are not operating in a world where there's a beginning, middle, and end. We operate in a world where we are constantly working with moving pieces. It's like plate spinning, right? So in that, I always think it's important to know what your value proposition is. Sometimes Simon Sinek wrote this great book about Know Your Why. Other people talk about their North Star. Is your value proposition? What is your why? What is your North Star, if you will?
I would say I have a few different whys, obviously. My family, my daughters, my wife. My late 20s were pretty hectic, to be honest with you. Didn't make all the best decisions and was just losing at life, to be honest. And wasn't figuring it out. I just got done with college football, couldn't find myself, wasn't making the right decisions, was playing the victim, and was just losing, to be honest, until I started making different decisions. And I believe that's one of my whys for sure, just knowing that feeling and not having to go back.
That's right.
So there's 2 whys right there. A third why, I had one of my best friends pass away in 8th grade. So really young age to have a best friend pass away. And then a few other buddies pass away after that. And you just really realize that everything in this life we're so blessed to have and fortunate for. And I'm really just want to live out to all my potential. I think where I'm at. And I'm almost addicted to fulfilling that and more is where I'm at. That's my why.
That's solid.
I don't think, to be honest with you, I don't think I'll ever be satisfied when it comes to business and whatnot and just life in general, which is okay. It was like I had closed my biggest deal this year, and the whole time I'm like, oh, this is going to be life-changing, and then the deal closed, and I was like, where's the next one at? You know what I mean? It's just, I just think that's just how I operate.
That makes so much sense to me. You're a driver, right? And like many of us would count myself in that. We have had an experience in our life or a season, I would say, in our life that perhaps was not an example of who we want to be at our best.
For sure.
And that victim mentality and that victim mindset is really appealing because it's actually rewarding to stay stuck in that way, because you're on a little hamster wheel of it sucks and this is why, and it just keeps going.
The poor me type thing.
To break out of that and to have the humility to look at what is not working and what your contribution is to it, whether it was all of it or circumstances, or people go through awful hard things and do hard things. but to then remember, hey, I'm gonna look at that, and I'm going to use it as a marker of I'll never be there again.
Yeah, and now it's that person in the late 20s or whatnot. It's just, it seems like a whole different life,
That's
not
right.
even that same person. And another big reason I'm so passionate about Sonoma and Sonoma County was because life back in the East Bay, where I went to high school and moved back to after college, like I touched on, I just wasn't around the right people, wasn't making good decisions. It was actually my wife, who was my girlfriend at the time, pulled us to Sonoma, the city of Sonoma, and new environment, right? Which huge, new life, and haven't looked back since. And that's also why I'm so passionate about people moving to Sonoma. I do think it's a life-changing place.
It really is. I remember moving here when my girls were really little, and I came here by myself with them to create that life for them.
Yeah.
And it was very similar. You read about this in books and maybe watch movies about it or whatever, but very rarely do people have the experience that I feel like you're talking about, and I definitely had, where you decided to start over.
It's time. Yeah.
It's time. And so then that bar, that expectation has been set. And it doesn't mean there's no wavering, because sometimes there is.
Yeah,
but
sure.
it's about the principle of who you are, what you do, why you do it, and how you want to be known.
Yep.
And to that point of how you want to be known, that's one of the most important questions to ask yourself when you create your own personal brand.
Yeah.
What do you want to be known for?
So that's a good question. So it's interesting because growing up, playing football, playing baseball, playing sports, I never really knew if sports didn't work out. I never really knew exactly what I wanted to do, but I did know I wanted to be someone that could change people's lives, that could be motivating, that could be a motivational speaker, all that type of stuff, right? That's what I asked for. And then I feel like in order to do something like that, you have to be put through some stuff, some hard times, which I was put through.
Yeah, you're going to have to go through the lab.
You got to go through it a little bit. Which I was put through. And like you touched on too, you had some of those hard times too. And I think the thing with that is not everyone makes it out of those hard times. But I do believe those that do build a whole new sense of confidence that some people don't get to experience.
That's right.
So yeah, just so everyone knows, I failed my real estate license test 2 times before I passed. I went back 3 times in 4 days. So started taking the prerequisite courses. Oh, Rob's thinks he's gonna get his real estate license, and then go to take my test and get a 50% the first time and say, I'm going back the next day.
That's amazing.
Go back the next day, and I got a 69%, and I said, I'm going back the next day. I think they made me wait a day in between. So I went back the next day and finally passed it, and that was a life-changing moment for me, because I didn't play the victim. I didn't say, oh, you have these learning disabilities. I just kept effing going for it.
I wonder, even, we'll never know, but sometimes I would just wonder, what would it have felt like if you had passed it right off the bat?
I don't think the same.
Not the same.
I don't think the same, because truly not passing twice and then going back a 3rd time and passing told me, Rob, you can do whatever you want.
Yeah.
If you put your mind to it, you can do whatever you want to do in this life. And I truly believe that.
See, it's crazy because it's like when you're talking, it's like it's back to the leadership, right?
Yeah.
Because I think just there's an assumption that leaders are loud and the biggest personality. There's also this idea that confidence comes from winning. And I just really don't believe that's not been my experience.
Yep, I don't believe that either.
The things that I'm most confident about in my life actually have had, I failed the test once or twice. I went the wrong way once or twice. And so I'm so encouraged to hear that's what your experience is.
I think confidence comes from overcoming. Confidence comes from overcoming the obstacle. If you're just winning all the time, you're not building resilience. Right? You're not telling yourself, I can bounce back. Like, even if I lost everything today, I know I could bounce back.
Yeah. It's so fun to talk to you about confidence, because I'm a word nerd, and I was doing a panel discussion recently, and I'm pretty sure, double check this at home, but I'm almost 100% positive that confidence, that word co is with, right?
Yeah.
And the confidence piece is trust. It's with trust. So it's like, in order to have trust, you have to have an experience. And I think a lot of times when you're talking about overcoming, if you can experience yourself overcoming an obstacle, what that teaches you is that, guess what? You just did it.
Yeah.
You
Yep.
just did it.
Yep.
It wasn't the seamless, smooth, straight.
Yeah.
You didn't fall asleep on the drive.
Yeah.
You had to stay awake, and you just did it.
Yep.
And it builds trust in you. And it's such a powerful thing for people to remember. And it's very true for our clients too.
Yeah.
Having a successful transaction doesn't mean you win at everything.
Yep, exactly.
It means that we are going to overcome the obstacles.
Yep.
And we're going to get you what you need, want, and desire. And you just have to build that trust, you with them with you.
Yep.
And then the transaction itself.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And for agents, confidence is going to come from, especially new agents, getting uncomfortable.
That's right.
Going on a listing presentation, being uncomfortable, maybe not going with your co-agent for the first time and doing it yourself and being uncomfortable. And maybe the guy tells you to get the hell out of the house.
Yeah.
But you did it.
Yeah.
Or maybe you go and you do it yourself and you crush it.
That's
and
right.
you sign it at 7%.
Yeah.
Now you did it.
Yes.
Boom. Confidence goes
Yeah.
up.
Yeah.
But either way, you went out there and you did it yourself.
I think too, a lot of times when you're really brand new in this business, it's just like everything else, right? You rely on your own network. If you have a big network, then, it's like people are like, oh, let me work with you because I know you and like you. I want to do you well. And if you have that in this business, that is the time to bring in somebody that literally observes what you're doing. This is already your friend. They're already for you.
Yeah.
And I don't think we think about it that way. We think we're going to crush it on our own.
Yeah.
And this business isn't an on your own business.
No.
But it is a business you have to drive. And so it's another thing that we see that at EV in our shops, right? So much support that you have.
Yeah.
If you don't drive it.
Yeah. You still got to put your foot on the pedal and
support's just going to idle out.
Yeah. And it's true.
Yeah,
because
it is.
in the end, you still have to go out there. And the support, like you said, with EV is amazing. It's, hey, Jennifer, I got a listing presentation at 4 p.m. Cool, swing by the office. I'll have your hard copy listing presentation ready to go, customized. But the agent still has to go.
That's right.
On the listing presentation.
That's right.
Book the appointment.
Exactly.
Right?
You have to do that, and you have to we have incredible material that we can put together and really customize it for you. But I always think of it, if you are going on a listing presentation and another one of my advisors goes on the same listing presentation, one of you is going to win and one of you is not. So it comes back down to that finesse that you're developing and that personality and what you actually, how you not just understand the market, but understand what's needed and build out the strategy. Yeah. And so I think you have a really strategic mind, right? You really think about I didn't know you were playing sports, but now I know nothing about sports. But I'm imagining you like actually creating a play in your mind for what it is that's happening here and what you need to do. Has sports influenced the way you take on a transaction?
I think sports more so just taught me a lot about accountability, showing up on time, replying in a timely manner. Yeah. And also, I think it just made me very competitive person with myself. Like now I'm where it's like, I did this quarter, I can't go back to doing less than that now. It's only going up from here. When it comes to the transaction part, I think sports just teaches you a lot about yourself and getting through the hard times, to be honest with you. I dealt with my senior year after football season. I was playing lacrosse and tore my Achilles. So I had scholarships to go play college football, tore my Achilles, and those scholarships got taken away. So I had to go to the junior college for a year, just take classes, rehab my Achilles, and then played a season there and ended up getting another scholarship. So just the resilience part of it, I think. And that's what I try to tell agents in general, too. You need to be resilient in this business. You need to have the 24-hour rule. Keep your head down. Don't take anything too personally and just keep rocking it.
That's right. Yeah. It's really what it is about.
Yeah.
Just keep the resilience. Go again, learn from what it is that you are doing, what's working, what's not working, and be willing to be humble enough to say, I want more. I think that a lot of times that's actually the most humble thing to say. Yeah. Especially if you are willing to follow it up with high accountability, high action, because it's really easy to be like, I'm gonna 4X next year. Yeah. We all see those coaches out there, especially this time of 10X. Yeah. Listen, it's gonna take your drive, your work ethic, that mindset. Yeah. That you're talking about. I can't wait to see where you're going to go. I have absolutely no doubt that truly that you can accomplish anything you set your mind to because of the energy you create around yourself and what you've said, right? There's multiple whys. You're willing to step into it. You remember where you're coming from. And it's going to be really fun to work with you.
For sure.
And to continue to see how you are shaping not just your career, but our ecosystem.
Yeah.
I can't imagine not having you part of our team, because what you add is such steadfastness and such a servant leadership that I feel lucky to get to work with you.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So let's make it happen.
Let's do it.
All right.
All right.